Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to another edition of our office hours. And we'll just wait a while. How are you doing, Flo?
Oh, sorry, I still have issues with my headphones. Give me a check.
You back with us? Is it working okay?
Yes, I think I am. Can you hear me well?
Cool. Yeah, all good, all good.
Perfect.
So we're just waiting. How are you doing, Flo?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you. And you? How are
All
you?
good? All good. I cannot complain. Hey, Jill. Hey, Elena. Sure, Jill. I'll put a link to join us in the chat. If it's easier for some of the questions, feel free to join and share your screen and walk us through. Or you can put them in the chat, whatever you think is easiest. But it's always best if you can join and screen share. Yes, I've just put it in, Elena. Hey, Elena.
Hey.
Can you hear us?
We can't hear you.
Well, we'll just switch to Jill then, since she's in the weight room while Elena gets a mic working. Can you hear us, Jill?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Am I here? Okay.
Yes, you're with us.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. It looks like there's some other people in here with questions, but do you want me to post them into the chat? Oh, you can't hear me.
No, we can. It depends. If they're inside the editor and you want us to kind of walk through something, it's easiest if you share your screen. But if you think you can post them and it's easy if we, just read it and answer, then that can work.
Okay, sorry. I had to mute the YouTube. I was getting really confused.
No worries.
Can you
Okay,
hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Take a little delay. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yes, please. That would be easiest.
What's happening? Oh, it's not loading. Oh.
Do you want us to? Should I break away to someone else for 2 minutes and we come back? Would that be easiest?
Yeah, let's do that. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm getting a 503.
No worries.
What's
No
happening?
worries. Right. Speaking a bit. I'll go back to Elena. You with us, Elena?
Hey.
Hey, yes, we've got you.
Hi.
We've got you.
Hey, I'm a couple. Business couple with Jill.
With Jill?
So
okay,
we have the same question.
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you wanna pull her back in, then we.
So you can.
And I'm
She
loaded up
doesn't
again.
have an accent.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that was weird. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. There we go.
Haven't got it just
There we
yet.
go. Okay, sorry about that. So
No worries,
here's
right.
our
We've got you.
thing here. Okay, so my first question is when we have a element on this page, right? Somewhere. Let me find an element. Let's see, like that one. So how do we know what library this came from and what component in that library that it came from? Is there a way to tell that?
That's a really good question. And I talked about this with the team just this morning. So, not easily. No, you need to use ideas to know.
Okay.
So
So let me get the ID. This one.
yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
it's not quite easy. We could try in the search. I don't remember if we can do this, but there is no easy way for now. But we are going to
Okay,
add
we just want to know the hard way.
a label. Yeah, we're gonna add a label for this. But right
Cool.
now, yeah, what now? I won't be able to help you right now, but I will definitely
okay.
definitely send a way to know.
Sorry.
So could you create a post on the community about this, and I will definitely answer there. If you could do that.
Wait, sorry. What do you want me to do?
To post on the community just your question
yeah.
about this, and I will answer there.
Okay.
So I could have a way to
That
answer you
is
later.
not a problem. Okay, and then should I keep going?
Sure.
What's the difference between duplicating an element and copying an element?
So when you duplicate, well, I can let you answer, Matthew. Huh? You wanted
Yes,
to?
no, you know, well,
Yeah.
it's if you copy it, then you can paste it. But if you duplicate it, it will basically instantly copy paste it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So you could, I mean, you could do it now in real time if you'd like to, and then you can undo it. So if you were to press copy, and then right click again and press paste, then it's copy pasted it. But if you duplicate, it basically just instantly copy pastes it. And then you can delete those two you just created, or you could press the undo button twice, whatever's easier.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So when we have an element like this and we want to put a workflow on it, what's the difference between, oh wait, where am I going? How to set a class on an element as it is loading. Like how would is there a way to set the class here when it's loading?
So you would like to change the class, right? When it's
Yeah.
loading, to add it later. What do you want? Why do you want to do an animation or something like this? Is there a reason why you would like to add the class later?
Right. So because like we would want this class to be set because we're on this page. So we're trying to make it so that the navigation is smart and like displays in a little bit different way based on what page you're on. So like this, if I put this to, let me see if I've got.
So you want to be able to dynamically add a class, right?
Like that. Like, let's say this is what, I mean, this looks like terrible, but whatever. Like when we come to this page, we would want this one to be highlighted.
Okay. So to do this, you need to create a state. So can you click again on it? Yeah. In here. So in here, you see we've got states just above classes. Yeah, here. So this is the default state. And what you need is a not over. So over is another state that will be automatically triggered while overing the elements. But what you need is a custom state. This. You wish to remove the class, right? No. So can you go to default again for the states?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now you can undo.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah. So now starting over, I'm going to hover.
Create it. Not hover. I think you need a new state for you, a custom one.
Okay.
And this one would be, so you see below you've got a new category. Just in here you've got new states. Okay. Yeah, and in here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you can give it a name like for survivor, if it's for this page.
I'm just gonna call it on.
On, okay. And you see just
the on state.
Yeah, perfect. So below that input, you've got a condition. Do you see that line? So you've got, you gave a name, on, and just below on, yeah, in here. And you see you've got the little plug icon to bind. Yes,
This
one. Absolutely. And here you can add any condition you want. So any logic. So for you, it would be if the page is that one. Okay. So you can use AI to do that, or you can do it yourself in here. So basically below, you see you've got current page. You see that one? Yeah, can you open it? So don't click, yeah. So this is an object. So you have many, many things with this current page. So what you want, for example, you can use the ID. So can you remove current page in the formula? We are going to select only the ID. Yeah. So can you open current page in the Data Explorer with the little chevron before current page? Not really in here, but instead of clicking, yes, perfect. And can you select ID? What you want is ID. Okay. Now you can type in equal.
Right. If like this. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need if because
we don't need if.
We don't need if for this one. So you can select ID, you can type in equal. And now you need to you already know the ID of the page you want?
Oh. I just did current page. Isn't this it? This is it, right?
Your current page is this one, yeah, but you pasted something now. No, you clicked again between quotes. No, I don't know what you did. Can you remove this? Yes, please.
I copied it from when we clicked on it.
No, okay. So now you can scroll. Scroll here. You don't want the current page, you want another page, right? So below, can you, yeah.
Oh, I want this, but I can't copy it.
You already type in this. You see in here you've got current page.id. So this is the ID. But this, if you change page,
it'll make it on for this page, and then since this is like shared, it won't be the current page.
Absolutely, that's why you need to finalize this this formula. So can you scroll in here? Yeah, you will understand just after, I think. Can you scroll? Yeah, perfect. You see below you've got pages, and here you're going to have all the pages of your application.
Oh, right.
Okay, and now you can click this ID.
Smart.
Okay, and now you get it? So because current page.id is dynamic, it's going to change when you change the page. So you want this to return true when the current page is equal to survival page. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So, so then let me just put something on here, right? Oh, well, I guess I could do it. I could do that.
Oh, you can apply your class. You wanted to apply your class. You can apply your class in here for these states. So just
then here. Right.
Yeah, here. Apply your class. Okay. And now if you change page, if you go to another page, it won't be triggered.
Yay. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay. Okay. Do you feel like you need to go to someone else, or should I keep going?
Yeah, no, I was just about to say, Jill, if you don't mind, there's a few people waiting, so we can we'll switch to someone else, and then if there's time later on, we can switch back to you for further questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
No worries at all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cool. Right. Next up is Jake. I know Jake's been waiting a while. Hi, Jake. You there?
Yes, you got me?
Yes.
Honestly, my question was mostly about best practices when it comes to like searching within your application in the instance of like some refactoring, or if we want to change like swap out conditions for a variable. And I'm struggling with understanding kind of the best way to find all of the places where, say, we've used like a role-based filter, and maybe I'm going to update that to a different role, or some other conditions, short of like going through every single binding on every single place. Are there some best practices for just like searching broadly within the code base, outside of like downloading the source code and opening it in an IDE and trying to reverse engineer it, like a basic debugging functions, things like that.
That's a loaded one.
I
Did
know.
you have any thoughts, Flo?
Yeah. First, do you know that you can search for any variable or collection? You've got a feature for this. If you type in Command F within the editor, you can look for what is used. Did you know this?
I know that when you pull the side tray out, there's search for the actions and the data to see variables or formulas respectively, but I'm not sure if that's what you mean. You mean globally?
Yeah, globally in your project, absolutely. If you have a search panel, if you type in Command F or Control F, depending on if you are on a Mac or not. Do you see this one? I think this is what you are looking for.
I've never even, it's so obvious, right?
No, it's not that much. You're not the first one, not worry too. Yeah, we need to make it more obvious to you. So I think you can look for any variable or collections or anything in your project thanks to this.
Yeah, formulas, etc. Okay. What about
you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you won't be able to swap. So to swap one variable to another one for now. This is something we'll work on. But right now you can find them and change them manually. So you know at least where it's used.
Understood. What about something like a role that we have included in a formula as one of the bindings? Is something like the value of a specific, like an ID, for example, like is that available there? Or I see workflows, formulas, collections, library.
I think you can look for that's a good question for roles. I need to check out. Give me just a second.
I'm also getting an error. Everything that I pick, like formulas and.
Ready? Can you share your screen?
Yes, maybe. Can you see that?
Yes. And you have an error. Okay, so you definitely need to create a ticket. This is weird. Okay.
Could you refresh and try again? Sorry.
Sure.
Refresh the page.
So
I lost I'll hide your screen.
Right.
That's the reason.
Right. The dang auth token again, right? All right.
Yeah. Okay, this should work better.
Let's just try this here.
Okay.
I see. Okay.
And only if you click on it, yeah, you would see it. So in variables, I don't remember if you have role in here. This is a good question.
Yeah, I see what you mean now. Very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a start, and we'll definitely improve this in the coming months. But at least you can find what is used and where.
Yeah, understood. But if what you're saying is, I'll just maybe
you were looking for role,
like the role, like if I were to need to go in.
So this is maybe definitely something that we need to add here. Let me take some notes.
So are you saying, Jake, you have certain formulas where you pass in a certain role and you say if role equals admin or something, and you want to change the role in those formulas?
That's correct. Yeah, like we misnamed them when we started the project, so we need to kind of we need to fix that, right? And I wish to, it's
For the future, the best thing to do in that case probably would be to actually create a formula. And if you were to say a certain role has certain privileges, you create a formula, and then inside that formula, you define the roles that have those privileges, or whatever it might be, or the names, whatever they are, and then you pass that formula in instead of the role, because then obviously you can just change that formula in the future.
I understand what you mean. Yeah. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you for the insight and the time.
No worries at all. Glad we could help. Cheers, Jake. Right, next is Danny.
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
Let me share my screen here. That's that guy that was just before me, that Ohio Recovery Housing. I'm building the exact same thing he's doing. I'm in the recovery housing business.
Really? Okay. Wow.
That's wild. I've never seen nothing like that. I've never seen nobody else doing it.
we found a good market then, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So can you see my editor?
Yes, we have it now.
Okay. So I'm very, very brand new to WeWeb. But I got a basic understanding of how like the no code, low code thing works. But when it starts getting into the code stuff, I mean, I'm learning it. But so the problem that I'm facing is I guess it's kind of simple really, but just trying to display dynamic data on. So this is just one of you all's Kanban templates. Just being able to display dynamic data on there. Here's where I'm getting hung up at is like, so I use ChatGPT a lot, but so basically if this is correct, so this settings icon tab right here is for like, I guess the high level of what you want the page, or you want the data to come from. And then this one, I guess, gets more granular as to what exactly you want to display.
Kind of, yeah. So the pencil icon, so the one you're on at the minute, is for styling. And I guess in the coded world, this is where you control the CSS. Then the middle tab is the settings for the element. And this is kind of where you control what goes into the HTML per se. That's not exactly what it is, but you can control things like the tag and the attributes and the class. You don't, as you said, you don't really have to worry too much about the code. I just kind of give you this for context if you're asking GPT about different things.
Yeah.
And GPT will only have so much context about WeWeb. So if you ask it questions about how to do certain things, unfortunately, there's only so much help it can give you.
Yeah, it's told me wrong a few times, things that I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah. So so in terms of, have you tried to bind this to Xano at all, or dynamic data? Like where are you getting stuck exactly?
There's the data is it's bound to Xano, or it's connected to Xano. So like I made Xano gave me some fake data to put in there. So like this Jennifer Garcia right here is not even a real person. Neither is the phone number. And I set up a fake table just with the name and phone number and created an ID just to get the concept of it. But like whenever I click that, I keep getting this unexpected identifier collections. Like I don't really know how to do it.
So first off, the reason you got the unexpected identifier is because you've already got something bound in there. So right now you have the status in there, and kind of behind the scenes, it's code behind the scenes, but it's giving you a visual interface. So whenever you put two things alongside each other like that, kind of in the coded world, you're putting two variables beside each other, like two pieces of data, and it just doesn't expect it. There's nothing separating it. So for example, if you open the formulas panel on the right of, just down a bit. No, sorry, in that binding menu that you had open.
Oh, okay. Oh, right here.
Yeah. And then if you were to, in the operators at the bottom, if you were to put and, for example, and then put another one in there, or in front of the and now. So and if you were to then put another piece of data, it would work.
Okay.
So you wouldn't. We're kind of getting there. I'm just.
I know. I get it. That helped me a little bit. And I know you got some other people waiting. I got one more quick question. Is it a complicated task? So like if I'm dragging someone down an intake pipeline, and once they reach a stage to convert them over into a client, is that something that's fairly easy to do, or is there some back end stuff that I got to do in Xano to make that happen?
It would be a mixture. So for example, if you were to click onto your Kanban board element on the page, and then go to the workflow tab. So where we had the stylings and settings is the one on the far right. Yeah, and then you were to create a new workflow.
So it's a workflow in Zen, or I'm sorry, in WeWeb.
It would be a mixture. So if you click on the triggers, so the minute the trigger is on click, you've got different triggers here at the very top. So if you just open up that menu for the on click, at the top here, you've got different element triggers. So you've got on item moved, on item added, on item removed. What you'd basically have to do is you'd have to have a trigger for on item moved, so workflow when an item is moved. And inside this workflow, do what you need to do to update it. So you'd have to update probably first Xano to say, okay, this item has been moved to whatever other status, and then update, pull that new data in from Xano, and then update the items that are in the Kanban board, so it reflects inside of WeWeb.
I got you. So in WeWeb as a whole, is there any coding knowledge that I need a basic understanding of to try to get the concept of how it works in the editor, or can I get away with it doing no code? Or would you suggest me taking some basic JavaScript class, or like a course or something, just to get a basic understanding, or can I get away with it without doing that?
So just for context, I was completely non-technical and I learned WeWeb, but along the way you'll become technical. So my advice would be to go just get into the weeds of WeWeb. But inevitably along the way, as you get into more and more advanced things, you're going to have to use some custom JavaScript here and there. But I wouldn't flip the switches, basically. I wouldn't learn JavaScript, then try to get into WeWeb or whatever else. I'd get into the weeds of WeWeb, and along the way, you'll naturally just become more and more technical.
Right. That's kind of the way it happens, ain't it? Just kind of trial and error, and eventually it'll come. Pretty
much, because all that's, as I said, it's kind of code behind the scenes. This is just a layer on top of it. So everything you do here, it gives you kind of the contextual knowledge of how to work inside of code. So whenever you try and learn code or whatever happens later on down the stages, when you try and become more technical, it'll make more sense because you'll say, okay, I took these steps in WeWeb, and you take the same steps in code. The only difference is that you're writing it as opposed to doing it in a visual editor.
Where would you suggest someone that has like technical questions, like the people on this stream's been asking you? Where would you say the best resource? The forum, just asking there?
Yes, definitely. Do you know where the community forum is? I can put a link in the chat. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, so definitely the best right now is the community forum. That's the best for now.
The Copilot in the editor, is that more trained than ChatGPT? Is that specifically trained, or is that just a general?
Yeah, that's trained on our documentation.
Okay.
And next week you're gonna have more, I suppose. So you're gonna be able to do a lot more in the editor. So
oh, really?
I think, yeah, you will like it.
Oh.
But
I'm excited about it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your feedback.
I'm coming from a Adalo, and it's great. It's really simple, but the customization is just you hit so many walls trying to filter stuff. I mean, I was having to do workarounds to make it work, and I mean they're great now for something basic, but I'm just wanting a little bit more. And I even asked, from my understanding, the combination with WeWeb and Xano as a backend is more powerful than Bubble and just about anything you can put together. I mean, it's
you can do a lot. Indeed,
yeah,
you can do really a lot.
I appreciate you all's time.
Also, Jake,
I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Jake, if you haven't already, I'd recommend checking out the Academy.
Yeah.
And in terms of just an A to Z of learning, that's the best place.
The Academy.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it in the chat.
It's a bit old, but you will have all the concepts you need.
And how often do y'all do these streams?
Every week.
Every week? Okay.
Yeah, same time. So what you see in the Academy, some of the UI might be a little bit outdated, but the same core things you have to do to get things working, they remain the same.
Remain the same. Gotcha. All righty. Well, I appreciate you all.
No worries. Glad we could help.
You're welcome.
Take care. See you, Danny.
Bye.
Let's see. So we had a question from Bertrand in the chat earlier. He asked a few things. He asked about the new modal, how to configure it. I gave him links to documentation. By the way, Bertrand, I know the plan is to create a video on the new modal because there's a lot of things that have changed with it. There's just other things, unfortunately, there's a lot on the plate, but it is definitely on the radar to create a new video walking through it. And then in terms of the first part of your question, best practice, single column form to multi-column grid. I have converted part of a form into a grid. I'm not too sure exactly what you mean there, Bertrand, if you could expand on that. But the second part, when is the new data grid coming? I'll hand the floor to you, Flo, for that one.
So yeah, this one is a current topic. So I cannot give a date right now because we are testing many different grids to tell you. So we have a no-code grid, we have opinionated grids, and we want something that works really well with AI. So that's why we postponed a bit, because we are trying it a lot. Be sure that this is our top priority, and we will definitely be able to release something in the coming weeks, I suppose. So please be a bit more patient, but we are definitely going to release something in the coming weeks.
Cool. Hey, Daniel. And then, yes, I think Jill has some more questions. I don't think there's any others in the meantime, so we will switch it back to Jill and Elena. Hey, guys. We will...
Again.
I'm on mute. Hi. Thanks so much. Okay, so this is... So we're basically have this flyout that we're using for edit. Okay. But it doesn't always, well, now of course it's working. It doesn't always work. So let me refresh and see. Here we go. See how it's not always pre-filling the data?
What's it bound to?
So it's bound to, okay, so I'll go here, right? And this is the edit ID that we're passing in. So we're passing that ID in. And it is bound to this instance of this component. No, this one, sorry. So basically we are passing in the data.
I think it seems like this would be something to do with the actual component itself, because
Okay,
whatever
so I've got
data
that here.
Is this the raw component? Because I think
This is the component.
And then if you open up the settings of the input, the second from the right, so the one just to the right of this, the sliders, yeah, and then you check the initial value. Okay, and then just to double check, because I saw in the, is this a different project to the one you just showed a second ago, where you have these components?
Yes. So we have one project that has all of our components. So we were here last week, and this is what was recommended, is we have one project with all our components, and then we're going to be pushing this library out to 3 different sites, one for logged in area and one for public and one for customer.
Sense. Cool. And then, so if you go into the workflows of the component, so the tab on the very far left, so on the far left, and then if you go to in the workflows, you've got one called set initial value. So that might be why. So if you change this from on mounted to on property change, and then if you just check the, exactly, yeah. And then if you set this to content, and then if you just check the action you're doing, just to double check that it's all working correctly, so you've got it open. If you might, would you mind just opening on the right-hand side?
What about these two things? I've been fiddling with these two. Does that look right?
They I don't think they would affect this. So allow execution from outside basically means that you could trigger this action from outside the component. And then drop zone is, have you experimented with drop zones at all in the components? No? Okay, it's kind of, basically you can add a flex box or a div inside of a component, and that then means you can drag anything into it. So that's what's termed a drop zone. And so if you were to allow execution from drop zone, it basically means anything you drag into the component has the ability to, inside the workflow, trigger this workflow of the component.
Okay.
But regardless, those two options shouldn't affect how this functions. If you wouldn't mind, could you just open at the bottom right what you're binding the value to inside of the actual change variable action?
In here?
Sorry, no, inside that workflow you just had open.
Oh, sorry. This one.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you click onto where you're changing the variable inside of that action, yeah, and then exactly, yeah. Okay, cool. It's all set up. So then if you were to publish this and then see the changes, I think this should hopefully resolve it. And then you would have to exactly, yeah.
I've done this so many times.
Yeah.
Okay, so close that. Okay. I swear we tried that before, but we probably just didn't have it perfect. Okay, it seems to be working.
So could you?
It's weird that it was like halfway working before, but that's okay. What's that?
Could you just open the workflow that pop up, the workflow bound to that pen icon?
One?
Yes, this one. Okay, so in here I see that you are setting edit idea. But a best practice when you are doing something like this is instead to create a variable that will basically save all the data from your line. So, and then when you bind to the init values of your components in your form, you bind to that variable instead of having to create a formula for each one of them to retrieve, the data from the edit ID. So just to show you, we can quickly do something, and I think you will get it. Can you create just a new variable and code it?
Yeah.
You can code it current row, something like this, just for the test. So you need to go to data.
Oh, data. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And here you can code it, current row. Okay, perfect. And you need to make it an object. So it won't be a text. It won't be, perfect. You can keep it like this. And just below set ID, can you create a new action and change variable value?
Which one?
Change variable value. So like
Oh,
the
yeah.
one before.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and in here you can select current row. Perfect. You keep that one, and here select the variable you just created.
Can't remember what we called it already.
It's current row.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then you can bind the value, and here, instead of selecting one value, you can select the full line, so item.data. Perfect. And then if you go to your pop-up, so you can close this. Now you can open your sidebar, your drawer. Okay. And if you click on anything here and you bind, for example, the content here. So in here you had to create this.
Right.
Okay. And here you can select current row. Instead, you can go, in here you can type in current row. And here I think you will see the data you need. So it prevents you from having to create this complex. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay, that's really helpful. And then I can do the same thing here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and do you have any other critiques of how we're doing all this with the component? Like, do you think it's a best practice to make components for each of these things, or are we just making our lives harder by doing it like this?
It depends if you're going to reuse it. So if
Like, we're
if
probably
you
going to
know-
have like 30 pages that are doing the same thing.
when you say the same thing, it's kind of granular. So if the 30 pages will have the same elements, then they wouldn't have the same elements.
Well, so they're all just CRUD pages, right? So we're just trying to get data into the database. So they might have text or drop down or multi-select or image upload, like all the things.
Yeah. So you want those foundational elements to be components. So in truth,
Okay.
I mean, I think in this update category slider where you have these inputs which have kind of a header and then a label above the inputs, that probably is a good use case for a component, because you're probably going to have multiple of those across the page. And then if you didn't have the component, having to manually create that header element and the sub-label element each time would be a bit of a pain in the backside. So having these B components, it does make sense. Same with their selects and the drop downs and everything you'd repurpose.
And then we also made like every single button into a component.
Yeah, that
Which
makes sense.
feels a little crazy, but I'm kind of like, well, if we want to change the color a little bit.
So having every single button be its own component, you'd probably, have you got the starter kit on here? So if you go to add in the top left where you're adding an element, and if you scroll to the very bottom of this, exactly, yeah. If you drag in the button component from this starter kit, and then you click onto this, and then you see the way on the right-hand side, you have a type select, third one. If you change this, this is, it might be better to do this where you have a single button component and you have different selectors. Just that way, if you need to edit it in the future, it can make your life a bit easier. And
right. And then if I looked at this component, like if I had access to it, which I don't, this is tied to
you can,
color.
if you want to see what's going on in the background, you can import it. And then when you import it, you can you'll be able to see what's going on, and it might actually be easier if you could import it and then just change the colors and stuff to fit your use case, because then you can just reuse all the logic.
Right. Okay, that makes more sense. I think we should do it that way, because right now you can see we have like sort of every single button laid out here, which doesn't really make sense. And we could do the same thing for our icons almost. Just have a type drop down.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going back to my questions.
Just sorry, Jill. Just quickly, there's someone waiting.
Okay,
Do you mind if we switch back and then we can switch back and forth? Cool.
No problem.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Hey, Bertrand.
Oh, hello. Do you hear me?
Yes. Apologies, by the way. I didn't realize your question at the start was
Yeah, I could not let's say describe it better because it was not enough space. So
yeah, no
I just show you my screen and which one? Dialog, this one, I think. And what do you see? Oh yeah,
we
you
see
something. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As you can see, I have this one is a little dialogue, but I have other ones which are much longer, and I want to move them to a grid, 2-column grid, for instance, like this. I tried it with the first line, but first of all, this is not aligned in the center, or let's say vertically. How can I do that?
If you click, so if we start with the aligning it first, if you click onto it, so you were just hovering over it, that the thing you wanted to align.
Yeah.
If you and then if you Ah, okay. This, let's see. If you scroll to the very top, and then you haven't got it here, unfortunately.
There is alignment, but
Yeah, this.
not this.
So you might have to put this in its own flexbox.
Ah,
So if you press Control G now, it would actually group it for you. Or you could
Control-D.
G for golf. Control G.
Oops, yeah, but now it's here. It should not be here, but okay. Let's say, then it's a flex.
Maybe sorry, could you undo that for me, Bertrand? Apologies, I just realized maybe we can do something else. If you click onto the element, and just trying to see on the left hand, if you click on the grid element on the far left, I'm just trying to see what it's inside of in the actual layout tree on the left. Yeah, if you click grid, I think, is this? So everything's inside this one flex box, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, so if you go back to,
Bertrand,
Yeah.
could you do me a favor? Can you duplicate that page?
The complete page, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, absolutely, the complete page.
Okay.
I'd like to try something without breaking anything.
Mm. Yeah, copy, okay.
Yeah, copy, perfect. Can you share the link of this project in the private chat, please?
Yeah. This is the link, this one?
Yes, yes.
Okay, private
In
chat.
the private chat, so I could see it.
Well, but where is it, the private chat? Where is it? The private chat, where can I?
On Restream, where you've joined,
Yeah,
there should
I'm
be
in
a private chat
Restream,
option.
yeah.
Is it on the bottom left? Is there a chat interface you can open on the bottom left called private chat?
No, there isn't. There is two. No, there is no private chat.
Would you mind checking Flo? I'm not sure what it looks like whenever you're a guest in the interface.
There's a microphone to the left and nothing else.
Bottom left, sorry.
Or maybe
So
I
if you
can.
take a look to the bottom left, really, you've got private chat, and you should see little pop-up views.
Yeah, now I got it. Because
You got it?
you opened it.
Perfect. Yes, you need to open it. Yeah, and perfect.
Okay.
I have it. Thank you, Bertrand. Let me try something. I'm going to help you.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, so many things are hidden, so I might need to. Let me share my screen.
Mm.
So let me share. Okay. Okay, so here I need to go here. Sorry. Okay, so help me here. How can I display this form?
Okay, I'm just I have to display this one, and
So,
now I can list contacts. I click on a
so you need to tell me
contact.
so I can click on my side.
And now, okay, this is the dialog you saw before, but in the copy.
You need to. I can see the screen. Let me do that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I can't do that. Tell me on what to click. If you take a look
Okay,
to the screen.
You first select a customer, then you click on list contacts.
So to find a customer, I need to do something. I might need to be logged in, right? So let me do something
Maybe.
else. Okay, I'm going to check. No worries. So I suppose this is this one. That is hidden. No. Okay, not that one. Model section. Okay, just need to CU form. I will find it. Okay, suppose this is this one. Okay. So let's try something. I really don't know what's going to happen. That's why I ask for creating a new page. This is what you might going to have next week. Can you style this form? Let's try this. It's a big form, so let's see.
But if you want to do that after the office hours, you can also do.
Yeah, we can do
maybe
that.
it takes too much time. But anyway, I would like to know how you do it and not just see the result.
But you can learn with this because you can see
of course,
how it does. Let's see. Final test. It's a. Let's see if we have a demo effect here. I'm taking risks.
By the way, I had. Okay, maybe this one. No,
Okay.
I'm visible. It was the wrong camera which was activated. Okay.
It's doing something.
It's doing something. Okay, I might need to be a bit more specific as this form is quite big, but I guess you can select part of it next week and play around with AI just to learn how to do it yourself. Because yeah, I see a lot of things in here, so maybe that's why. At least I tried.
What I'll do is I'll quickly jump in, Bertrand. I'll share my screen now on your project just to show you what it is. So I'm gonna have to do the same as Flo here, where it was customers, and then sorry, Flo, which one was it? How did you get it to display?
You open section, the second one. You need to open it. Yeah, here, and I think it was container after this, because this one is displayed.
Condition.
And
This one?
I think it's the second one, the container. You need to go inside it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think in here you've got the forms, and you need to click on one of them and click force display to see it.
Okay. So just because there was a few things that needed to be changed. It was so you wanted to center this, right? And then
horizontally, vertically, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And did you want this input to be beneath this text?
Well, it would be nice, yeah. Then I should also set the screen, let's say row height. I don't know how to do that.
So all this kind of, I'll go in depth because I don't know how much you know so far, Bertrand. So basically all this works, it all works in boxes. So if you wanted this to be beneath this text, this would have to be inside of its own box. And then same with this, how it calculates where it's centered, it is all based on the box it's inside of. So first off, if we want this to be beneath this text, it has to be inside of their own box. But right now, all 4 elements are inside a single box. So these 2 elements aren't grouped individually. So as I said before, I'll do Control G. So this puts it in a flex box, so in a box. And I'll now put this element inside that box I just created. So now they're inside their own box, and they align based on each other, if that makes sense, based on this box. For this seems to already be centered, I think.
Yeah, I think it's because it's so long, the text. It's centered automatically.
But this might be a nuance of grids in WeWeb. Correct me if I'm wrong, Flo, but I don't think you have the alignment option to center items inside of a grid.
Sorry, folks. Yes, it's particular with grid. It depends how you build it. But for your use case, I think it's easier to use Flexbox.
Yeah. So what you could do though, as a workaround, Bertrand, is if you were using a grid, take this element, for example, I can see it's kind of just slightly to the top and it's not fully centered. You could put it in its own flexbox. So I Control G. Then it's in its own box. And then once it's in a box, you can justify it like that. It's not centered because you've got a margin on it, I think. Yeah, you've got margin on it. But if I remove that, now it's centered. So for a workaround in any of those cases, you could put it in its own box and then center it.
So I'm using a grid, but I'm using flex boxes within the grid.
Exactly, because the grid just creates one massive box.
Yeah.
But if you want to individually place things inside of that grid, then you have to make almost more boxes inside of that grid so that things know where they should be aligned. Hopefully that makes sense.
Unboxing. Yeah, okay.
Exactly, yeah. Boxes upon boxes.
Yeah.
Just so shall I undo all this for you in your project?
You want to do it?
No, shall I undo it? The changes I've just made?
No,
do you want me to undo them?
no. That looks already nice.
Okay.
I would just
Okay.
continue.
Cool. Yes. I hope that's made a bit more sense
clear,
with the boxes.
That's helpful, and thank you very much.
No worries at all. Glad we could help.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers, Bertrand. Right, I think that's about us. We've got a few minutes left, unless there's any questions in the chat. There's a question from HDP Layer Info. How can I invite users into Supabase from WeWeb? I'm not too sure exactly.
So
do you have any idea, Flo?
You have two ways. So whether you add them manually, so if you go to the auth table, and there you can add users there. You can even choose their password if you like, or you create a sign-up page and you deploy that sign-up page. It depends. You can also go to the Supabase Studio to create a user there. So it depends what you want to do and why you want to invite them. Sometimes you don't want a sign-up page and you just want to create a user and give them access to your application. It depends what you want to do.
And then for your second question, HDP, I think for the sign-up action logging you out, I think it'd be best if you could share your screen for that. But unfortunately, I don't think we'll have time. So if you're able to join us next week, we're here every Tuesday at the same time. It'd be fantastic, just because it's one we'd have to walk you through, I think. And then I think final question of the evening from Jill. After a patch updating one record in a collection, do we need to refetch the whole collection? No. If you've used the patched action, that would just instantly update the collection, so you wouldn't need to refetch it. Cool. And I think that is us for the evening. Thank you everyone for joining. There was a lot of questions tonight, a lot to get through, but hopefully more things have been learned, more knowledge has been shared, and we shall see you same time next week on Tuesday evening.
See you next week.